like a good funk to start off your Saturday afternoon. Gotta love the funky groove, people. How's everybody doing? Alright. So, today we are going to look at the idea. This is a great idea. Selling sawdust. Come on, let's give it up for selling sawdust. You know, they've been making things with wood for thousands of years. But then somebody, somewhere, saw a bunch of sawdust on the factory floor and said, hey man, if we collect all this sawdust and throw some glue in there, we can make some press board or some other type of material. And that's what they did, and created a $1 billion industry on something that was once before considered garbage. So, try to sell sawdust. We're gonna listen once again to one of our favorite guests here, Alex Hormozi. Let's give it up. And we're gonna learn a little bit about the pleasures of selling sawdust. Alex, take it away.
Number 13, try and sell sawdust. So I was talking to a really good friend of mine who does 100 plus million a year, and I was talking about this concept of sawdust, which is in the businesses that we have, I try and look at what are all of the assets that we already had at our disposal, right? And so with acquisition.com, for example, I was talking to him about this. I was like, well, I already have a building. I already have the team that runs my portfolio. And I already have all this lead flow from companies that are not big enough to be portfolio companies, but they're still big enough that we could help and then someday later become portfolio companies. And I was like, is there a way that without adding more infrastructure to my existing business, I could use the sawdust, the stuff we already have, to create a product or service that would meet the needs of those customers? And so the sawdust analogy just comes from lumber mills. So they take these trees, they put them in through the lumber mills, they cut them up, and they put them in the planks. But at the bottom, what they figured out is there's all this sawdust. And then some very intelligent engineer was like, we're just taking all the sawdust and we're throwing it out the back. Is there something we could do with this? Well, it turns out, one, sawdust is great for plants and growing and putting it in a mulch and things like that. But also, if we mix this with glue, we have more wood planks that we can create afterwards just using the sawdust and the chips. And so they created a whole nother revenue line from stuff they already had. And so right now in your business, you have sawdust, and it just takes a little bit of creativity to think, how can I recombine some of these things that I'm already doing to then create another product line that doesn't take operational infrastructure for me to add to sell? And then those added product lines often are huge margin increases because it's all profit, because it's something that you already are incurring the cost for your main business so that you can have this. And the key to making this work is that it cannot increase operational drag. If you have to do a whole nother thing in order to make this work, that's not what you want. The idea is the sawdust is already there. And then all you have to do is gather it, put the glue on it, and then you have another product. That's the concept. I didn't buy another building. I didn't hire another portfolio team. It's just I use the team that I already have, and they come down and they explain what they do within our portfolio companies to these businesses so they can become portfolio ready. So they understand, oh, this is how they market at a higher level. Oh, this is how they hire at a higher level. Oh, this is how they price. Oh, this is how they sell and how they scale sales teams. All of those concepts, I already have the information and expertise within my existing portfolio because I do it every day. But by just having another way for people to have access, obviously less than a portfolio company would, to that team, then I have another way to generate revenue without having to incur the costs associated with building out a whole nother business. So the process that I go through is I think about all of the resources and assets that I have currently available. So you have to be as detailed as you can because it's usually like a tiny piece from here. It's the glue that we use for this part of the log process. But then we have the sawdust from over here. If we put those together, boom, we have these new logs, and we have the plank making machine. Let's combine them and then we can do it ourselves, right? And so you have to think, okay, what are the talents and the people that I have available? What are the digital assets or physical assets that I have available to me? And is there a new way that I can combine these things? And so a simple one was like in the gym space, right? I had brick and mortar, but we were only using the space from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then from 4 p.m. to 7 or 8 p.m., right? So that means the rest of the day, if I wanted to be a more clever business owner, I could say, what businesses use a gym and turf in the middle of the day that I can rent that space to? That's sawdust. That's additional revenue that basically costs me nothing. And so all I would have to do is say, hey, I'm available. So if you have a team training thing, or you have some sort of sports thing with kids that goes in the middle of the day or ends by 4, then you can use my whole facility. And now my facility is generating revenue because I'm paying the cost of owning that facility 24/7. And so I might as well make money from that. So a different way of using that is called excess capacity. So if you have excess capacity, like Uber is based on excess capacity. People have cars, they're not using them. Airbnb, you have an extra room, it's excess capacity. These are businesses built on other people's sawdust. And you have sawdust in your business, so you might as well use it yourself. This is really the concept of double and triple and quadruple dipping, is how can I get more leverage from the same thing? And so I tell stories about our portfolio companies, which like that gives me, I have to do an intervention with the portfolio company either way. But if I tell the story about it, I get to double dip and use that as content. And so there are many opportunities where you can get leverage, you get more for what you put in by reusing the same thing in multiple different scenarios. And so most businesses have tons of these excess capacity or double and triple dip potentials sitting inside their business, and they're not using them. The workshops that I talked about, I get to make content from those workshops. I get deal flow from those workshops. We get cash flow from those workshops. My team gets more exposure to different types of businesses and industries, so they also get better. And so there's many value additive things that stack on top of each other from one decision. By the way, if you want to check out one of our workshops, you can go to acquisition.com. We'd love to talk to you. It's for business owners only. So if you don't have a business, go to school.com and we can help you start one. Number 14, arm your salespeople. So I see too often a lot of founders and entrepreneurs.
All right. Excess capacity. What do you have in your business that's excess capacity? What sawdust do you have laying on the shop floor that you could turn into additional revenue? And so Alex is talking about double dipping, and there's double dipping going on right here, okay? By taking industry leaders and highlighting their words of advice, I'm not only aligning myself and my brand with people, high performance individuals, I'm also, by continuing to review, because I have to then post this to different platforms, do a little bit of description editing like on YouTube and so on and so forth. So for each post, I'm double dipping in the sense that these words of advice and these different ways of looking at business, I'm constantly exposing myself to. So just by highlighting the ideas, words and ideas of high performance people, I'm actually finding some sawdust that I can use and reuse over and over again. This content is just so easy to create, and I'm already double dipping on the professionalism of Alex Hormozi, right? So his audio is clear, his videos are simply produced, and as you can see, he cuts and edits the video so there aren't spaces in between, long pauses in between his words, which sometimes happen here in a live situation. So, food for thought on this Saturday. What sawdust do you have in your business? Is there a way that you too can sell sawdust within your existing find and sell sawdust within your existing infrastructure and your organizational capacity to create something new and exciting. Alright, this was a quick one. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next time. Alright. Thanks again. Au revoir.